Financial statements for entrepreneurs are an essential window into the business because they're completely unbiased and they free us from those like internal perceptions that we have that color our view of the world and kind of affect how clearly we can actually see the truth of the situation for what it actually is. And I guess I had an experience this weekend where I get Sunday morning, I get that screen time report and I realize, oh, I didn't realize I'd spent that much time on YouTube this week. And if I wouldn't have had that data right in front of me, one, I never would have even thought about it and been able to sort of reassess and say, okay, wait, when did I spend that time? What should I have been doing more productively instead? And two, I don't know that even if I would have had that trigger to think about it, I don't know that I would have had the right information because I frankly had no idea. And it's so important for us as business owners to have that same kind of data-driven view into our businesses to tell us what's actually going on. But, I have the privilege of talking with so many entrepreneurs, and it's amazing how many are missing or they just don't have that access, that view into their business. And so I wanted to talk today about what are the things that you need to do to make sure that you're getting the most out of these financial statements and how they can be set up in a way to be of the most use to you. So I have a friend from Arizona, and he's like true blue, dyed-in-the-wool Arizona, and born and raised, all that. He's got a lot of pride in the state. And I like Arizona. But at some point in random casual conversation, he mentions the 5 C's of Arizona. Something, cactus and color and copper or something like that. But just to spite him, his name is Justin. I'm going to throw out here the 5 C's of financial statements. So these are the 5 critical elements to make sure that we're getting the most out of our financials as entrepreneurs. So the first one is they have to be current. We all understand that financials are inherently historical. We're looking backwards. We're looking through the rearview mirror. Now, that doesn't diminish their importance. It's essential. We can't know where we are or know where to go. Obviously, we all know that we need to take that information and make future decisions. We need forecasts. We need budgets. We need goals. We need all the decisions going forward, but we need the information on what happened, and we need it as fast as possible. Financial statements from 2 months ago, 6 months ago is not nearly as helpful as financial statements from the month ended, 2 days later. So they have to be current. They have to be as real time as possible so that we're getting that information fed to us quickly. 2, they need to be correct. I won't spend a lot of time on that. 3rd, they need to be consistent. So that means a couple of things. One is the time in which we're reviewing them needs to be consistent, whether that's monthly or in some very rare cases, like if you're a contractor and it's just you can do it as infrequently as quarterly, but no further out than that. And if you're any sort of business with employees or sort of delivery of complicated things to customers, it needs to be monthly. Really, that should be the standard. And then as you grow, as you start to get towards really $1 million, any business that's even coming close to $1 million should be reviewing in revenue, should be reviewing their financial statements every single week. And having that, it doesn't have to be a full set of financials, but it needs to be a financial report that you're looking at every single week. The number 4, 4th C, is that they need to be complete. And that means you need to be looking at all the financial statements, a balance sheet, profit and loss statement or income statement, and a statement of cash flows. And the balance sheet tells you, it's like a snapshot, it's like a picture, a still frame picture of where you are now. It tells you where you're at. That's important. You got to know where you're at. The P&L tells the story of how you got there. And the statement of cash flows tells that same story from a different angle. If you have the story but you don't know where you end up, then you could be missing something. You don't know even that the story is right. If you have the story without knowing where you end up, then you don't know, the story might not get to the right place at the end. And knowing where you end up, just having that still frame is useful, but not as useful if you know the story of what happened to get you there. And then that second angle on the story different perspectives, right? There's always two sides to a story. Those two different angles tell very different things. What happened financially and what happened from a cash flow perspective. It's very important to have all those in place. And number 5, the financials need to be concise. So I often see a profit and loss statement that is like 2 or 3 pages long, and same for a balance sheet. And this is like impossible to make any use of. You have to scroll through and you've got like $5 spent on printer toner listed as its own category. We want to consolidate those categories as much as possible and have a very quick, concise profit and loss. Should always fit on one page. Same thing with a balance sheet. Put them into categories, lump things together. We can ask questions. Really what we're doing with these financials is we're getting a high level idea of what's going on in the business so that we can ask questions and dive in and figure out sort of what's what. But at the financial statement level, these should all be as concise as possible. So I hope that helps. If you're missing out on any of these, if you have questions on any of these or how to do it or best practices, then don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to answer any questions you have. Thanks.